Hi, my name is Rachelle Bramlage-Schomburg, and my dissertation topic is on the impact of professional development for Bullitt County teachers. The conference is all about changing conditions and environment, and my topic directly ties to this conference theme. The one changing agent that exists within education is our students. Our students are constantly changing and constantly evolving, and so is education, because the students are our future leaders, mechanics, engineering, teachers, electricians, doctors, first responders, and the jobs yet uncreated. We know that teachers are among the most powerful influences in their learning. John Hattie taught us that this isn't about classroom size, but about teacher efficacy and being able to impact a student's educational path. Yet teachers don't only influence the academic skills, but they also foster the 21st century skills of critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. Today, there are many modes of professional developments offered for teachers, such as conferences, self-taught classes, seminars, various programs offered by the district, and even individualized components within the school. These modes vary in length, from hours to days to months, and designing and leading these individualized and differentiated professional development results in changes in practitioners' practice and changes in student learning outcomes. That is a significant task that districts and school leaders have embarked upon. And this is so important because unfortunately our students are experiencing differences with varying teachers, causing a flux in learning. John Hattie reminds us students who are in high-impact teacher classrooms have almost a year advantage over their peers in low-effect classrooms. And in order to reduce the classroom experiences for our students, instructional leaders must provide professional development to support the teachers and their growth. It is the challenge of our schools and districts to continue to provide professional development that are most effective model to impact teachers' perceptions on their pedagogical craft. Bullitt County Public Schools has created a Thinking Focus Cohort, which is a year-long professional development designed to influence teachers to create conditions in which student ownership and engagement increase, where teachers become facilitators of learning rather than dictators of content. The overall purpose of this study is to examine the teacher's perception of their pedagogical craft from the impact of the Thinking Focus Cohort participation, specifically on student engagement. Bullitt County educators are provided a level cohort, elementary, middle, and high, a year-long professional development opportunity that includes coaching, learning walks, while focusing on the 4 pillars of instruction through community, thinking strategies, gradual release of responsibility, and academic discourse. And even with the research-based Thinking Focus Cohort and the current research, there is still room to investigate, ultimately regarding the effects of professional development on pedagogical craft to improve our student engagement. My initial research questions revolve around the ability to answer, is this the most effective professional development offered to Bullitt County teachers to improve the teacher's perception of their pedagogical craft? I've honed into 2 initial research questions, as you can see up here on the screen: the teacher's perception of the impact of professional development on their pedagogical craft, and the teacher's perception of the impact of professional development had on student engagement. On this screen shows my initial thoughts of professional development, as well as my conceptual framework, the overall purpose of Thinking Focus Cohorts, and the strands of the Thinking Focus and the research behind it for my Chapter 2. As I've begun to dive into the literature and examine all of the components that we have out there, we see that No Child Left Behind was the pinnacle in creating legislation highlighting the trend towards holding schools accountable for the learning of all children. The primary goal of No Child Left Behind was for every child in the country to have a highly qualified teacher. In 2009, the passage of Senate Bill 1 in Kentucky not only put us in compliance with No Child Left Behind, but it began the stages for Kentucky to embark on a comprehensive system of education reform known as unbridled learning. Students were exposed to rigorous standards, had a different accountability system, and yet it also embarked on the component to promote continuous improvement for professional growth and development of skills needed to be a highly effective administrator or teacher. Kentucky's legislation adopted amendments in the Kentucky Administration Regulation, noted on the screen, that included annual professional development and defined professional development programs, related and regulated that schools had a professional development plan, that districts had a professional development plan, and that there was a district professional development coordinator who could ensure that teachers were being exposed to the appropriate modes of professional development. There were yearly requirements and there were minimum budgets placed upon it. As I've also looked into the literature in of itself, the obvious goal of purpose of highly qualified professional development is to increase student learning by improving, enhancing, or updating classroom instruction. This directly matches with the No Child Left Behind. Therefore, the traditional modes of professional development in the early years of education, which included a one-size-fits-all through the approach of generic workshops, conferences, seminars, staff meetings, derived from a topic and a selection of speakers, no longer fits the approach that we have today. There are an array of professional development opportunities for teachers to select both nationally and locally while earning their 24 hours of required professional development in the state of Kentucky. The Associates for Supervision and Curriculum Development, also known as ASCD, is an organization that develops programs, products, and services essential to the way educators learn, teach, and lead. Locally, KISTE, also known as Kentucky Society for Technology and Education, is an organization designed to empower the education community in the Commonwealth of Kentucky to infuse technology as an integral part of the educational process through leadership, providing excellence, and supporting our teachers. And while there are an array of these opportunities out there, we're still trying to uncover why teachers choose certain professional development over others. In 2008, Anderson uncovered approximately 67% of middle school science teachers attended for content knowledge, while 78% of teachers attended to focus on improvement in their teaching pedagogy through instructional strategies. So not only as we continue to find out why they're selecting this, we also have to look at the research and what it's telling us, the results of those professional developments. There are a wide variety of results. A two-year-long professional development was offered for middle school mathematics teachers on their knowledge and teaching skills. It included over 100 hours of support in the form of summer institutes, seminars, and in-school coaching. And despite this investigation of time, there was no evidence that the results improved teacher knowledge. Los Angeles Unified School District invested $500 million in professional development. And according to the National Council on Teacher Quality, their investment of money didn't pay off as the professional development had no effect of raising student performance. Lending us, for any professional development program to be successful, teachers must first participate in the learning. University of Memphis paired with an urban Memphis elementary school for teachers to gain knowledge on reading instruction focusing on phonics, phonomic awareness, comprehension, fluency, vocabulary development, and writing. And it was for kindergarten through second grade teachers. And while the professional development had the teachers raving about it, it still did not improve the overall components that it was focusing on. Learning Forward outlined the characteristics of professional development that leads to effective teaching practices that support leadership and improve student results through the 7 standards listed on the screen. And while my research continues, I have a conceptual framework that has come about, and it's through Mikhail Bakhtin, a Russian philosopher who introduced dialogism. The whole component behind dialogism is to have one person speak while the other one listens, and then they transform into new thoughts. This is replacing the monologic, one-directional modes of professional development into the concept of creating opportunities for educators to have dialogue, to shed their perspectives, but to hear others as well. Through others' views, one perspective could evolve, causing a shift to happen in their pedagogical craft to increase student engagement. 3 elements will be addressed throughout my research: the addressivity, the answerability, and the heteroglossia. As teachers mentioned before, they participate in the Thinking Focus Cohort. And what you'll see on the screen are the 4 pillars. You have community, then you have the thinking strategies, gradual release of responsibility, and academic discourse. Up on the screen are where the research is coming from. John Hattie's work, PEBC out of Denver, a public business education coalition working together with educators. Fisher and Frey with Better Learning. All of these components tie together to ensure that our students have the ownership. As we know that community is a critical piece behind growing kids. It's about relationships, but relationships is not the only piece. The shared purpose, the communication, and the routines establish the growth for the students. The thinking strategies that are introduced and examined and modeled and used within classrooms, inferring, questioning, visualizing, schema, determining importance, monitoring for meaning, synthesizing, are all strategies to help any reader tackle any reading text and any content. The gradual release of responsibility goes from the teacher of I do to we do it together, to you do it together, to transform for that student to do individually. And academic discourse ties directly to Bakhtin's dialogisms, where students think, they respond, and they listen to others' perspectives to grow in their learning. My proposed methodology is to investigate the teacher's perception on the impact of the pedagogical craft from the Thinking Focus Cohort on student engagement. As mentioned, the Russian literate theorist and philosopher of language Mikhail Bakhtin developed the concept of dialogism. My postpositism theory serves as a multiple perspectives using multiple levels of data analysis and scientific report to determine the impact of professional development. The proposed analysis will have data collection from surveys at the beginning and the end of the cohort, and through group level assessments for random teachers to provide their impact on these components. Analysis will include multiple readings of transcripts, utilizing coding and mnemoming for this to take place. Identifying those themes and then clustering the themes based on relationships will be used to interpret the findings through standpoints of using participants' word to determine if this is the best mode of professional development to increase a teacher's pedagogical craft from a teacher's perspective. My proposed timeline is listed on the screen. hoping to make it to graduation in the fall of 22. And within the next resources that you have here are my references of where I've started. Thank you very much, and I appreciate the feedback.